A huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. As you guys can tell, I'm going to be doing a cute little draw with me, a digital draw with me, because I know you guys really enjoy those. And I'm going to take this opportunity to answer some questions that I asked you guys to leave on my Instagram. I like to do Q&As once a year, I think, because I started doing this little art journey so young. I love to see how things have changed, and I love to update you guys and listen to your curiosities and such. So yeah, I'm gonna start with the questions. So the first question is from Esther Morales Art, and they ask, what do you like the most about having adopted Ollie? I think the most that I love is, I love having a dog. Like, dogs are amazing, but I think the thing that I love the most is how rewarding it is to raise a dog. You know, I didn't get him when he was like super small, but I got him when he was 4 months old, and it's just incredibly rewarding to raise him and continue to teach him, find what's best for him in every sense, diet, exercise, etc. It's super rewarding, and I love having another little bestie. Yeah, I don't know, it's just the rewarding aspect of like raising a puppy. I think that's been the best part. Attic Funeral asks, what top things do you think have helped your business grow? I think the main thing has definitely been consistency, in the sense of posting on social media and having shop updates. So last year I had pretty frequent shop updates, and I want to maintain that frequency now. I tend to have a goal of having one shop update every other month, and I feel like that consistency really lends to the success. I also think that experimenting with new products, paying attention to what's popular, and just continuing to develop my artistic skill, because what I sell on my shops are products that are art merchandise made from my artistic creations. So I think continuing to develop my skill, experimenting with new products, and consistency are what have lended to my business growing. The next question is from Cat Power, and they ask, how's married life? So if you guys did not know, I am married. I've been married for a couple months now, and it's been great. I mean, it doesn't really feel any different because I've been with my now husband for 2 years and a half now, so things don't feel super duper different. Right now we do not live together because my current apartment is too small for the both of us to work from home, because my office / studio space takes up so much of the apartment, and my supplies and just everything take up most of the closets in my apartment as well, so there's really no space to grow or add stuff. So we're just waiting for my lease to be up so we can move. But yeah, I really haven't felt a difference, because we've kind of, I think, always known that this is where we wanted to end up. So if anything, I just feel really happy that I am now married. I now get to say that I'm married. Straub Studios asks, go-to easy meal after a long day. I think my go-to, and it's really random maybe, but my go-to is definitely Annie's box mac and cheese. This is like after a long day when I don't feel like cooking, I just need something quick. The Annie's box mac and cheese and air fried broccoli with just some avocado oil and smoked paprika, just until the broccoli gets crispy enough, and season the mac and cheese, because it's a lot better when you season it. That is my go-to easy meal. That takes like 15 minutes to make, and it's very satiating. It makes me feel very full, and I don't have to really think whenever I'm making it. Dark Kale asks, I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, can you give 3 important tips for someone who is trying to get better in art? Love you, Paloma. Oh, thank you. I love you too. Three important tips for someone who's trying to get better. I think number one is sketch, and I am guilty of not always doing this. I tend to fall out of habit, but sketch, have an ugly sketchbook and a pretty sketchbook. I have found that that's what works best, but sketch as much as you can, experiment as much as you can. That is the main tip. Tip number two would be look for inspiration in real life. That has been something that helps me a ton and makes me feel a lot more connected to my art, makes me feel a lot more original. So finding stuff in real life that can lend to your art, whatever that means to you, whether it's watching movies, going shopping for something specific, going to a zoo, museum, whatever. Other than like practice and sketching, maybe like push yourself outside of your comfort zone, try new things, experiment with new things, whether it's traditional or digital. If it's digital, experiment with new brushes, experiment with new color palettes. Traditionally, experiment with new media. I think that always helps you grow as an artist. Next, Miromi _ asks, where do you like to shop for clothes? I shop for clothes in a lot of different places, but I would say my main places now are Target and Madewell. If not those places, I really love going on Etsy. I find really pretty unique stuff on Etsy, and I get to support small creators on there as well. Those are my main places. Target is just, it's really affordable, and whenever I'm there to run errands or pick up something else, I just look at the clothing section and see if they have anything that I like. As far as Madewell can be a little bit more expensive, but it's really high quality, and they're constantly having sales, like constantly, and they offer student discounts as well. And the sale section a lot of times will have extra sale on top of it. I've gotten stuff from the sale section that originally has been like $50-$60, and I got it for $5. So yeah, that's where I like to shop for clothes the most. Honey Plum Paper asks, what are your favorite and least favorite things to draw? I think my favorite things to draw are flowers and foliage. I love it. It flows so naturally for me. I love finding new, unique flowers to draw. It's my most favorite thing. And I would say my least favorite thing to draw is definitely people, which is really funny because when I was younger, I used to love drawing people, and I would dedicate a lot of time to practicing drawing people. But now I really avoid it just because I can't find a way to stylize it and make it feel personal. I can draw people realistically, but it just doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel personal. It just feels like I'm copying something from real life down to paper, which is essentially what I'm doing. So it's really hard for me to stylize people and still make them look like themselves. So therefore, that is my least favorite thing to draw. The next question is from Anna Jailer. I don't know if you are Hispanic, but that's how I would say it. If not, Anna Jailer. How do you manage uni and work? So luckily the semester when you're in university does not last that long. So my semesters will normally last 3 months. They're about 16 weeks, I want to say. So it's really not too bad. I only take 2 to 3 classes a semester. I try to take as many as I can online. That's not always an option, but I try to. And I just kind of like figure it out when the semester starts, because unfortunately each semester the schedule is a little bit different depending on the classes. So I never really know what's coming until I sign up for my classes like a month before the semester starts. So once I sign up for my classes, I try to pick schedules that will work the best for me. And I try not to go to campus more than twice a week, which I think I don't. Yeah, I don't go to campus more than twice a week because I live off campus and it takes me about 40 minutes to drive there and back. So it takes a lot, a huge chunk out of my day to go to class. So yeah, never go more than twice a week. Never take more than 3 classes a semester. And I kind of just whenever the semester's coming up and I've picked my classes, I kind of just have to make a plan and adjust my schedule. I'm like, okay, you know, this day I'm not really going to work as much and I have to be okay with it. And then the next day I just have to work a little bit more. So yeah, it's honestly just organization and planning because it is a lot. The next question is from its_Marco Robello. And their question is, where is Pistachio? So if you guys didn't know, I had a frog, a little Pac-Man frog named Pistachio, and I loved her so much. But after I got Ollie a few weeks in, I would say maybe even like a month in, I realized that it was going to be too much for me to handle such a young puppy and 2 cats and a growing frog. So I decided that I would rehome her to one of my husband's friends. I did, when I was like letting everybody know, I did charge like a little bit of money because I feel like when it comes to rehoming pets or something, it's best to charge money because that way you can kind of ward off people who might get animals impulsively or without thinking. So I sold her and her entire setup and everything, all her supplies, to my husband's friend that has experience with that. And I mean, she's doing great. She's thriving. Sometimes I miss her, but then I remember that she had absolutely no perception of me because Pac-Man frogs are just not attached to their owners whatsoever. I'm sure there's some people that have the odd frog out there that maybe loves their owner very much, but she had no perception of me. And yeah, it just, I wanted her to have a little bit more attention than I was able to give her after getting Ollie, which I'm happy I made that decision because shortly after is when I started having to pay a ton of medical bills for Ollie, so it worked out. Growing up, I had never had a like small pet or like tank pet, I guess. So I did really want to try it out, and I'm glad that I did get her and try it out because I also realized that it's not really for me as well, but it was fun to have her. I miss her sometimes, but yeah, that's what happened to Pistachio. The next question is from Astrid.WSM, and they ask, best tips to fight art block. Mine is chronic and it's depressing. I definitely feel you. Art block really sucks. Honestly, I think the only thing to really combat art block is to let go, which is really hard, especially for me. But I think when you're feeling art block and you're really in the thick of it and you keep fighting and climbing, trying to get out, because art block feels like you've fallen into a pit or something. And if you've continued to push yourself and try to fight through it and it's not working, I think that's when it's time to kind of let go and accept that, yeah, I'm in an art block right now. And it's scary. It's scary if that's how you make your income. But once you kind of accept it and let go of trying to fight the art block, you're at least able to relax a little bit and your brain is able to, I feel like, flow and think a little bit better. So I would say that's the first step. Step number 2 would be taking a break from anything art because you could also be experiencing a little bit of burnout if it's chronic. So I would say focus on other things. If you can, take a day off. Take a day where you really don't do anything. But if you can't, just put your mind to something that is completely different. Do chores, go run errands, do something you enjoy, go see friends, whatever. I think that is a huge thing. And if none of those things work, I'm gonna say try something new. Try something completely out of your comfort zone. Try something that is entirely new to you, and it might give you a refreshed perspective to your art. The next question is from MI4UI3. And their question is, fave things you've learned from college. I think my favorite thing that I've learned is probably all the painting techniques because to get my fine art degree, I had to take painting classes in college. And I just learned a lot about being loose, about what it is to make a good painting. I learned a lot of really essential techniques there, like painting with palette knives, underpainting, and how important that is. That's where I learned thumbnail sketches. Like, I think that painting class really changed me and my perspective in my art. So I would say that was my favorite part about college. Next question is from Mal_Widmark, and they ask, how do you keep drawing when you feel like you lose some inspiration? This is pretty hard. The main reason why I keep drawing is because, this is my job, so I kind of have to. But what you can do when you are feeling like you're losing inspiration when you're drawing is you can take a step back. Again, take a break. Take like an hour break and then come back to it. If you still feel like you're losing inspiration, I would stop and sketch. I would sketch different ways to make the art piece. I would do maybe some research on references, etc. Just taking steps back, slowing down, because I feel like a lot of us, especially me, tend to dive headfirst into art pieces, and we just want to get it done already and like go as fast as we can. At least that's how I am. So just, take a break, relax, look at some picture books, look at stuff on Pinterest if you can't go out. If you can go out, go places that inspire you. Just, taking a step back and not trying to do a piece all in one sitting might be very helpful for you. The next question is from Ranjafi or Ranja FY, and they ask, does the student debt make you somehow anxious, coming from a country with no fees? I'm assuming they mean like in their country they don't have to pay anything for school, which is super cool. I wish that was the case here in the US. But so a little bit of context on my degrees. So my fine arts degree is an associate's degree, which normally takes 2 years. It took me like 2.5. That degree was in community college, so my classes were very affordable. I highly recommend community college to anybody in the US, at least for art. I think the education is almost the same, and my education was amazing in my community college. And then to finish off my bachelor's degree, I'm doing a bachelor's degree in art history. And so that normally takes 2 years. It's taking me a little bit longer because I work full-time while finishing my degree. But like I mentioned before, firstly, I only take 2 to 3 classes a semester. And I also don't live on campus. So my semesters are drastically cheaper than maybe the average university student here in the US. And number 2, super important, is my parents actually pay my school, I am extremely privileged and fortunate that they're able to do that for me. And I think in part they are able to do that for me because I take such little classes a semester, so the fees again are really not as much as the typical uni student. So luckily, thankfully, wonderfully, thanks to my parents, I do not have to take out student loans, which is super great. The next question is from Madison Sarah, and they ask, how do you balance giving yourself to your audience but not giving too much? So in the sense of art, I would say it is a little bit hard for me. I am trying to practice that by sketching a lot more in sketchbooks and just like having fun in there and making stuff for me. As far as like the social media aspect, I am very private. I would say I'm a lot more private than the average social media person, I guess. I have my own private Instagram where I have like family and friends, and that's where I post like my private pictures of myself and my life and my partner and my friends and all that. So I have that is completely separate and private. As far as my videos, I keep basically everyone private, and honestly it's because they want it that way too. My friends and my partner especially, they ask to be, if they're gonna be in clips, they ask to be like blurred out of them, which is totally fine. I'm super happy to do that for them. So yeah, I just personally, I like to keep the people in my life private. I think it's up to you, honestly, and I think it's important to set boundaries because you are not obligated to share anything of yourself, honestly. Like, the only thing that you're doing is sharing your art. So if there's something you don't want to share, then don't. And set those boundaries and kind of decide what you're comfortable with sharing and what you're not. So that was the last question, you guys. I thought I would get through a lot more, but those were the questions I was able to go through. I will definitely do another Q&A then, because I feel like normally I get to go through more. But let me know if you guys want another Q&A so I can answer the rest of the questions. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching me doodle this fun piece. I had a lot of fun making it, and even though it's not like the best or the most perfect piece, I still really love it. So yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye. So before closing out today's video, I wanted to talk about the sponsor, which is Squarespace. If you don't know what Squarespace is, they are able to give people a powerful and beautiful online platform to create their own website. You can do stuff like connect with your audience and generate revenue through gated members only content. Again, managing your members, emailing them, stuff like that. And you can also display posts from your other social media platforms to direct people to your other internet spaces. So if you're interested in a free trial, you can go to squarespace.com and you can use my code for 10% off your first purchase.